Well, welcome back to Page to Picture, the podcast where we talk about our favorite books and movie adaptations they inspired. I am your host, Kim.
And I am your host, Tiff, and today's episode is full of dragons, destiny, and a whole lot of opinions. Okay, today we are talking about Eragon, both the best-selling fantasy novel by Christopher Paolini and the 2006 film adaptation that is a movie that was made. So,
yeah. This story has it all: ancient prophecies, dragon riders, dark magic, and the coming-of-age journey of a boy who discovers he's at the center of a rebellion. Whether you grew up obsessed with Saphira or were introduced to the series through the movie, there's a lot to unpack, and we are going to get into all of it.
Yes, and we are joined today by a special guest, author Poncho. Poncho is the writer behind Chronicles of Heroes, Untamed Nature, a high-stakes fantasy adventure that blends elemental magic, rich lore, and the enduring power of legacy. And if you love immersive worlds and characters wrestling with fate, which I do, his book is right up your alley.
Yes, and he is here to help us break down Eragon from what made the book so iconic to what exactly went wrong in the movie adaptation, and why fans are holding out hope for the upcoming Disney Plus reboot. So grab your sword, summon your dragon, let's get into it. Poncho, please say hi to our listeners. Thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Thank you guys for inviting me too. Hi, everyone. I'm very nervous.
Don't be nervous.
No, don't be nervous.
Fine. Once you start getting into it, literally, once you start getting into it and you start talking about your feelings on the book and movie, you're gonna forget that you're even like doing a podcast.
Literally,
you sometimes can get on like a tangent and just like go off like for a long time.
I feel like we'll do that a lot.
Yeah. And I love my tangents, so
yeah,
I will not shy. I'm not shy away from it.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yes. So let's get into the facts about this book. The book I love. Okay, so the book title is Eragon. The author is Christopher Paolini. The release date was August 26, 2002. And the genre is fantasy, young adult, and adventure. So the common tropes in this is the chosen one or like the hero's journey. And then there's dragon rider bond. It's coming of age. There's the mentor protege relationship, good versus evil, magical training, learning powers, secret legacy, fantasy world building. It's literally just anything that you would want in a fantasy book. Let's just throw it out there. Yeah,
it's all the tropes.
All the tropes that you can find in a fantasy. This book has it. So this is the blurb, okay? So Eragon tells the story of a young farm boy who discovers a mysterious blue stone that hatches into a dragon, thrusting him into a dangerous world of magic, power, and destiny. As the last of the dragon riders, Eragon must navigate ancient prophecies, deadly enemies, and his own evolving abilities to help lead a rebellion against the tyrannical king Galba, I can never say this. And I just call him Gal. Yeah, something like that, man. Okay, everyone always says fantasy names are crazy, and then I'm like, no, they're not. And then I read a fantasy book, and I'm like, I'm gonna give him a nickname.
This book had a lot of crazy names. Poncho, I was telling Tiff that we'll get into it, but this is my first time ever reading and watching this book, like literally 2 weeks ago. The whole time leading up to it, I literally thought Eragon was the name of the dragon. So when I was reading this book, I was like, oh, they're getting so into Eragon. And then it was like, oh no, Eragon is the boy.
Yeah.
And the dragon is Saphira. My whole life, I thought Eragon was the dragon. I was completely wrong. So right away, I was like thrown off and I was listening to the book. I was like, okay, I got to rethink.
She was bamboozled.
Yes.
No, with the name, I struggle more with Murtag, and who was it? The leader of the Warden? I cannot pronounce his name.
No, any of them. I don't know.
I can't pronounce any of their names. I give them nicknames.
Brom, Eragon, Arya, Galbatorix, Durza.
Yeah.
Murtag
or something.
Saphira. Ajid, I don't know. Like I just started I was like, whatever. I'm just gonna abbreviate their names as I read. That's how I felt.
It's intense, the names. Okay, so Kim, you said that you read this like
2 weeks
2 weeks
ago.
ago. You never heard about it
Yes.
ever
Nope.
since then. I
Mm-mm.
read this book back in like middle school, and when I reread it, I was like, oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember a lot of this actually. The movie is a different story, but we'll talk about that later. Completely a different story. Poncho, when did you first read Eragon?
I think I read it like 8 years ago, so I had to read it.
Reread
I
it.
I
Yeah.
I remember it completely different.
Yeah. I
So
feel like
did
that's
I,
the
because
case. Tip
when
was
I
saying the
read it,
same thing.
when I read it the first time, I remember being like, this book is amazing. And I remember like talking back, even now, I was like, oh, we're going to do Eragon. I remember loving that book. And then I opened it up again and started reading it. And I was like, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot happening. I didn't hate it completely, not the book, but I was like,
It's very
wow.
YA
Yeah,
for
I
like
was like, I
YA.
really
Yeah.
was into
For
this.
for me, I think it was the opposite because when I first read it, like way back, I was like, "There's not much happening." Now I read it, I'm like, "Okay, I understand what's going on. I
Yeah.
like this."
You're like, I love
Yeah.
this.
Do
I
you
think
think that's because like you are now you also are a fantasy you're like a fantasy writer that you have like a different perspective now on it?
A little bit, but I think as I matured, some of the themes actually resonated more with me than
Yes.
before. Especially the one with destiny and fate
Yes.
and
mhm.
leading. That kind of, when I was younger, it was more like, oh, nah, that doesn't happen. Now
You
I'm,
just like want the action when you're kind of younger, right?
Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
like, come on, like let's get into it. See, I never read this book, Aragon, as a kid. When did it come out? 2002
Who?
or three?
Yeah.
I never read it. I don't think it ever piqued my interest. So reading it literally 2 weeks ago was my first time reading it as an adult, and I I'm not a big fantasy's hard for me to get into. It really is. But I think the author's writing for that time for like a YA book, it's really well done. Which kind of goes into our next question, which is like, what stood out to you most about Paulini's writing style or even his like storytelling approach?
I feel like he, I would say he's the, if you want to start fantasy, you go with him. He has an easy way to get into the story.
Mhm.
He
Mm-hmm.
introduces characters one by one and slowly accustoms you to them. And you get
Mm-hmm.
used to them and by the time they have a relationship, someone else comes in. And
Yes.
it's very simple in the sense that anyone, if you want to get anyone to read fantasy, this is a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eases you into all of it, because sometimes fantasy can be a lot, and you're like thrown into like the
Like
chaos.
you should have already known all this information, or like you should have already known this land. And then yeah, it can be a lot. But I agree. I think he lays it out very nicely so that anyone of any age can read it and you can enjoy it and understand it.
Especially with Eragon as a main character, being a farm boy isolated from everyone else,
Mm-hmm.
learn the same things as you do. So it's not like never slows down the story. It adds up to it when he
Yes.
Mhm.
In the book, Aragon has such like character growth,
Yeah.
right? I feel like a lot of the characters, even like Arya, like have character growth. So he does a really good job with that. And then also I enjoy his world building. Like the
Yes.
lands, it's described so well that you can like visually see everything what you're reading. So I think he did a really good job. And then I know Tiff, you said that he wrote this. What's a fact about it? He wrote it when he was 17.
I read something when I was doing some research on it that he wrote it as a teenager. I think he was like 17 or something. And I was like, for him being a 17-year-old writing this, I think that he did amazing. The world building was great, and I loved the world building. It's very like adventure focused,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't mind that. But yeah, I just like, I think I give him extra props because he was a teenager when he wrote it, because
Yeah.
you don't get that a lot, and you see a lot of teenagers putting out stuff there, and you're like, I think you should continue to pay attention in English class for a minute and then redo it. You know what I mean? But like this was good. So I give him props for that.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that too, that he was a teenager. I'm like, wow, I wouldn't be able to write that when I was like 17.
Yeah, no, in like middle school and high school, I had the hardest time writing English papers, period. Like I could not do it. So for him to like write a whole book and then have a series of books, like that's crazy.
And then for it to be as big as it is too,
that's
it's
ambitious.
Like, yeah, it's huge props to him.
Yes.
But I want to talk about the characters of the book. So let's talk about our favorite characters, okay? Who is your favorite characters and why? Because I like Brom because he's not really just like that broody mentor that's like, you know, kind of shady and lives in the shadows. He's also someone that really just like grounds and humbles Eragon when he needs it.
He's like the father figure.
Yeah, because let's be real, Eragon needs it sometimes in the books. Like he would get a little cocky in a sense. And like he has this like attitude that's like, you hate it, but you love it kind of deal. And Brom's just like, yo, chill, okay? You don't know anything, all right? Let me help you.
Yeah.
And I think Brom's like really the only one that kind of understands him too. So it's like, I like that dynamic. I like the protege mentor relationship in books. Yeah, so I like him, but I don't know about you guys.
Go ahead, Poncho. I want to know what yours is first.
Ooh, mine is almost a tie between Saphira and Murtagh.
Oh, nice.
Saphira brings something that Brom also does. Like, they humble Eragon every single time they can. Like, we told you so.
Yeah,
we're just gonna let you
mom and dad. Like,
yeah. They like tag team against him. They're like, yo, chill out, okay?
It's only that Saphira does it with this kind of tone that it's not condescending. She's kind of mocking him.
Yeah.
Because they have that bond with the telepathy that nobody else gets.
Yes.
And she hits it right.
Yeah.
And with Murtagh, it's something way different. I feel like since the moment he's introduced, there's a lot of intrigue around him. And they keep on building on that, and then you get all the tension when they're going to Varden, when he's not want to go, when he starts lashing out at Eragon and Saphira. And I feel like that just keeps building, and that tension goes on and on and on, and it blows up. And I like that character. I love him. He's my favorite character because of that.
Yeah, I love that. You're like, he's not a flat, like what do they call it? Not like 2D, or how do they say it? 3D character.
Two-dimensional.
Yeah, he's very like, he's not just like somebody who's there and you just kind of like forget about him, right? He's like his own main character. Like, people enjoy him.
Yeah.
I liked Arya in the book, okay, because the movie will talk about it differently. But I liked Arya. She, to me, I felt like she's one of the like most, important characters in the book, and with the journey with Eragon. And I like her because like she has like true character growth in the book. And I like how she's outspoken and direct, but she's like stoic, and then her feelings towards Eragon, they grow. And I think she's just such a great FMC, right? I truly enjoy it. I mean, and I do love Saphira too. I do, but I really enjoy Arya in the book, and I was quite disappointed with the movie version. So that will be a conversation.
I think we all are.
Yeah, disappointed is going to be a huge word that we're going to be using a lot. That's going to be
the title of this podcast. Eragon, disappointed. And in parentheses, the movie.
Yeah, the movie. Disappointed.
The book is good.
Yeah.
The characters were so dirty in the movie. So dirty.
They did that so dirty. I was like, what is this?
I was like, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. Okay. So did you guys read the rest of the inheritance cycle after Eragon? If not, will you continue reading the other book series?
You will. Because I like Murtagh. I want to follow his story more.
Yeah.
I like him more than Eragon.
He's like, give me a side novella just on Murtagh.
Yeah,
there is
just
one.
On him.
There is one.
Is there?
Okay.
Yes, I was researching him, and there's a book named Murtagh. It's at the end of the series, and he gets his own book. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna read it.
To read it.
You're like, I'm just gonna skip it and just go right to that book. I'll figure it out later.
Oh my god. I didn't know that. That's crazy. I have not, but I probably will, especially if they end up making the TV series. I'm intrigued. I want to like continue the journey. And we'll talk about the TV series. That's a possible too, because there's a lot of fans that are scared. But I mean,
understandably so.
Understandably, yeah.
So I think I would read it only if they were like confirmed, like, hey, the TV series is coming out. This is like the cast, whatever, and then I'm gonna be like, okay, let's like brush up on the book series. I think that's when I would read it. What about you, Tiff?
That's the same for me. I haven't read it. Honestly, when I first read Eragon, I didn't know that there was more to it until
here. I didn't know.
And I was like, oh, maybe I should read all of it. And then I watched the movie, and it totally turned me off from reading the rest of the series. But if they do a TV series, knowing me, I am probably gonna pick it up and read it just because my brain works like that. So yeah.
So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then what you mentioned, the 5th one is Murtagh's story. It's like dragon, and then it's Murtagh. It's like, oh, okay.
He was the requested.
Yeah, I'm
requested
sure.
Story.
People want his story.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than Eragon. He should have just started with him. I'm just saying.
That could have been a whole different, like, imagine if it wasn't Eragon, but it was like Murtagh it's like his actual series. That would have been interesting.
It would have been a completely
Eragon is like
story.
actually a side character.
I would have read it so fast.
Yeah.
I would have eaten all of the books in like a week.
Yeah. You just eat it up.
Yes.
Just zoom through it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, same. Okay, so let's talk about the themes of the book. So we have destiny, rebellion, friendship, legacy. How did these themes resonate with you? So I know, like, for me, like, reading it when I was younger, I didn't think about any of that. I was like, this is just a book. This is just fantasy. They're going on an adventure. There's dragons. This is awesome. And then reading it now, I was like, I really like, my brain kind of focused in on the chosen one trope, where Eragon kind of struggles, like, because he has like a struggle that you don't really see a lot when it comes with the chosen one tropes nowadays. Because usually when it's like the chosen one, they're like, okay, I'm the chosen one. I have all this power now. I know how to use it just after like one day of practice, and I'm totally great. But Eragon's like, yo, I'm low-key kind of struggling here. And Brom's like, yeah, you are. And Saphira's like, yeah, you are. And like, and they work together. Like, it kind of shows him, it's like a more realistic way of like becoming the chosen one, if that makes sense. And then like the friendship between Eragon and Saphira, I kind of focused in on that too, because they have this bond that's like, it is very rare. They have that rider dragon bond, but also it's like, I don't know how to explain it. There was something about it where I was like, I love this so much. Like, I just cherished every minute of it.
I feel like they acted like siblings.
Yeah.
And that kind of helped.
Yes. Like, it was a very
like
unconditional, like, it was an unconditional kind of love and bond that they had with each other. And I ate it up.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about the movie, but
we are going to talk about the movie.
I thought of a scene in the movie, and I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
She's like blacking out right now.
Whatever.
For me, it was like the friendship connection through not just Eragon and Saphira, but like every friendship connection that Eragon made with all his like characters. So, but definitely Eragon and Saphira is like one of my favorite friendships in this fantasy. I mean, it's emotional, it's honest, unbreakable. And I think like what you guys said, they're like siblings. Like, she's 100 years older, like a sibling. And then I mentioned earlier, I enjoyed Brom and the mentorship, but almost like the father figure, right? It's almost like a found family.
Yeah.
Especially after his uncle passed. I mean,
oh yeah. That was a whole thing.
Yeah.
I just thought about the movie.
I know. Oh my God.
Just thought about it again.
Every single time we mention something good about the book, it's like the movie comes creeping in the background.
Yes.
It's like, remember what I did? And it's like, no, I don't want to.
The movie is literally Galbatorix. Like, like trying to ruin our life right now in this book.
Literally.
Like, John Malkovich, what are you doing here? Like, your character was ridiculous in this movie. Please leave me alone. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
What about you, Poncho? What about the themes? I know you mentioned earlier when you read it, now you felt you understood the themes a little bit more than when you read it, 8 years ago. So what were some of the themes that you enjoyed in this book?
Okay, so the rebellion and friendship, I understood 8 years ago, but I feel like I feel them deeper because I write that kind of themes too. I like themes of rebellion, of being yourself, of fighting against all norms and unbreakable bonds. And the one that actually struck me as new for me was the destiny one, being destined for something and coming to terms with that. And it's really funny because the story of how I got there is I was playing in a tabletop RPG, and my character is a break dancer with the spirit of Fenrir trapped in it. So he's fated to be betrayed, he's fated to be trapped, he's fated to kill, and he's fated to create war. And the character keeps fighting against that, but the world keeps forcing him or bringing him to those situations.
Destiny.
Yeah. And that's
Fate.
how
Love it.
and that's how I finally understood what Eragon's destiny was, and I'm like, oh god, it's horrible. I wouldn't want to be like that. Like being the chosen one, all the responsibility, and you're trying to fight for yourself.
Yeah. I would not want to be the chosen one. Don't
Same.
ever listen to the fates or universe that's listening. It's not me. It's the person next door, not me.
Yeah. No, I'm eating my bread over here in my village. Don't even come for me.
Please
Like,
don't talk to me.
They're down the street, the farmers. They're down that way, not me.
You got the wrong girl.
I feel like it's better to be the best friend of the chosen one.
Yes.
Because everything happens to them and you're there enjoying your time helping them.
Yeah. You're like the comedic relief for your destined friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, that sucks for you, but I'll hang out. Yeah.
We'll save you if we need to save you, but you're the chosen one, so you'll probably be the one to save us. But, don't mess up.
Exactly.
Exactly. And if you do, well, we're here, but don't count on being the best saving in the world.
Yeah. We'll do our best.
Yeah.
And that's all we have.
Yeah, that's all we can do is our best. Okay, so one last book question before we dive into the movie.
Oh, God.
How did you guys find the pacing and tone of the book? Did the epic fantasy sweep you away, or did you guys feel it was slow at times? Because I'll go first. Because I felt like there were points where it dragged for me. I think at the beginning, like I said, fantasy is not my forte because I think for me, it's like sometimes it's so much information, like info dumping. But I did enjoy, like I said, his world building, and you have to like lay out everything, all the characters, the world, because you have to like break it down for the readers, right? But I enjoyed when the adventure like kicked in, because then I was like, okay, it's starting to pick up. Like, this is what I wanted. Like, she hatched. Let's go. Let's train. Let's do all this stuff. So I mean, and I felt like for the first installment, it was obviously, I feel like if you're going to do a series, your first book, it has to be a lot of groundwork, right? You have to like introduce the world, you have to introduce the characters and like what's the purpose of this whole storyline. But I think for him, I mean, God, for him to be writing at 17, I think he did a great job. At 17, I was not writing anything, period. So I can't like hate on his writing skills. Like, I thought he did well.
I do agree. Like, there were certain points in the book that it felt slow, especially in the beginning or when he was traveling with Brom. Like, it was, okay, we've been traveling and nothing has happened. Like, nothing massive.
Travel.
And then there's like, I feel like at the beginning, he tries to make the keeping Saphira hidden, very important, but you never feel like there's a risk that she will be found out.
Yes. Yeah, they were just like, it was just like, don't get caught with the egg or the stone. Like, that's the king's, don't get caught. And it was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Saphira,
Like,
I was like,
all right, when's it gonna
Saphira,
happen?
don't fly onto town or above the farm. We're fine.
yeah.
Like, I was
Like
like,
we're
what?
we're in the
There's a
middle of
risk.
nowhere, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I
it,
agree.
it's
I agree. There was definitely some parts that was kind of like, okay,
You're
where are
just
we
gonna skip
getting? Yeah, that's when you just kind of
going.
keep like reading. You're like, let's just get to it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I feel like it started to pick up after he met the seer, the witch,
Mhm.
and
Yes,
that's when
yes.
the traveling didn't feel like, oh, we're only traveling. No, there's risks, there's travelers, there's merchants. We have to find people.
Yes.
They shouldn't hunt us down. So
Yeah, I completely agree. When you're like traveling and you're just there's no I don't know, explain when you're traveling and you're like learning as you go, but there's not like it's almost like a long, long montage. You're just like waiting, and you're like, when's
Mhm.
it gonna pick up? Like, when is something gonna happen? When's somebody gonna come out and like threaten them? Like, you have a dragon. Dragons no longer exist. Riders don't. You know what I mean? Like, this is serious stuff. And we're over here just like la di da walking around. Like, what is happening?
Just vibing on the road, and that's
Yeah,
about it.
he's like trying to connect with his new daddy, Brom.
Yeah. New daddy is
His new
crazy.
100-year-old sister. Like, let's do something.
Yeah.
What do you think, Tiff?
I mean, for what it is, I think the pacing is fine, given that he was very young when he wrote it. The first few chapters they're the foundation of like kind of the story, but they were really slow. And then
Yeah.
the tone, I don't know. The tone was all right too, I guess. For what it is, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so when I was rereading it, and I'm 100% positive this is just me because I have Lord of the Rings on the brain all the time, but it was like giving me like he's trying to be like Tolkien but doesn't hit the Tolkien mark, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it like every time I would read a certain thing or come across a certain like point in the book, and I'm like, that just you're like, I know what you're trying to do, and I applaud you for trying to do it, but you didn't do it.
Maybe he was inspired by
That's what I
it.
was thinking. I was thinking like, yo,
But
this
trying
is
not
Lord of the
to
Rings fan
be,
because the
but not
traveling,
trying.
the
Yeah, maybe he was like inspired, but not trying to copy.
yeah, like
Maybe.
I could probably bet money that he is a Tolkien fan for sure, like Lord of the Rings fan, because a lot of like the ancient, like the lore behind the
Mm-hmm.
world that he built and like the languages and everything and the
Elves.
adventuring, yeah, the adventures, the
Yeah.
elves, the dwarves, like all of that. I was like, yeah, this
You're like,
is
you're a
Tolkien for
fan.
sure. Yeah, you're a fan, and we could have a conversation, but you're hitting a mark that it's far. You're close, but it's far. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
I think I
yeah.
was just kind of not irritated, but I was like, that's constantly what I kept going to.
So
Was
I had to
that?
look it up real quick. So in an interview, he said yes, he is a fan of J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings and has acknowledged its influence on his own work,
Yeah,
particularly the inheritance cycle. While he doesn't consider Aragon a direct copy, he admits to drawing inspiration from Tolkien's world building and fantasy tropes.
yeah,
So
which is
you know
fine
what, you
because I
can't
think
hate on it.
Tolkien. I think listen, I think Professor Tolkien is like the key, like he's like a lot of people's blueprint to writing fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're going to write a fantasy that like where it consists of traveling and it consists of like different aspects of people coming together to
Mm-hmm.
complete a task, you know what I mean? Like I think
Yeah.
that's like the blueprint. So I mean, I'm not mad about it. I
Are
listen.
you a Lord of the Rings fan, Poncho?
Actually, I've never read it, but I like the
Same.
movies. So,
Okay. I've never read it,
but
nor have I watched it. So
okay.
she hates me for
I
that.
do. I
Oh,
do.
Do
I'm
you
a
enjoy the
huge fan.
movies?
yes.
Okay, there you go, Tiff.
I, it actually makes sense that he is a fan because even the relationship between the elves and the dwarves and magic is like almost the
Yes.
same. Elves are
Yeah.
magical and they're ancient and they're very graceful. Dwarves, they no magic is not their thing.
Yeah.
They're underground and they're building things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like when I saw the dwarves, I'm like, oh, so it's that kind of tour trope.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes.
very Tolkien.
Yeah.
Very Tolkien. I'm a huge Lord of the
Maybe
Rings
that's
fan.
why you liked this book when you were younger, because you love Lord of the Rings. I mean, like, it all makes sense. Your connections to all this stuff.
Listen, it always circles back to Tolkien. I can. The last time when we did Narnia, I was like, this is giving me Lord of the Rings vibes.
Yeah,
and
she can bring it up anytime.
It's just, I love the books, I love the movies, and so that's why I was like, I don't know if maybe it's just my head thinking like, just Lord of the Rings lives in my head rent free, so I don't know what to say. It is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm that way, but with Percy Jackson.
I love
Percy
Jackson. You love Percy Jackson.
Okay, when we do a Percy Jackson episode, which I know we are, we're gonna have to invite you back because I love Percy Jackson.
I love the books. I love the movies, and the TV series was a series.
It was a series.
Yeah, I agree with that. That statement. I love the books. The movies were fun.
Yes.
The series was something.
Yeah, the series was more for like my son. So I have a son, he's like 11. And in his class, they read they read Percy Jackson, and then they watched the series so that they can compare. And so, like, I feel like the series is like really for the younger kids, but I feel like the movie, like, I love the movie. I love the characters. I love the movie. It was so fun.
The movie's so good.
The movie was so fun. Like,
yeah,
it was not it was not a 1-to-1, but it was fun. I feel like the series just tried to make everything too easy.
Yeah.
Underestimated children, which is a mistake for me, because they will get it.
Yeah.
More episodes.
Yeah. No. Okay, we're gonna do one, and you're gonna jump on it because I have a lot.
Yeah, we're sidetracking here, and we need to just make this an episode again.
People like they love the series. They say the series is way better than the movies, and I'm like, then you've never watched the movie because that's a lie. Because I could watch the movie every day.
Yeah, like just don't say that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're lying. You didn't watch the movie then. If you think the series is better.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
You probably didn't even read the books, so don't even talk to me.
Exactly.
Okay, so since we're on the topic of movie adaptations, you guys, we got to get into the movie. So let me break down some facts about this movie, Eragon. So the title is Eragon. Director was Stefan Fangmeyer, I believe. Release date was December 15th, 2006. And I'm going to run through the cast the best that I can. So you have Eragon is played by Ed Spielers, who at first I didn't know who he was, and then I deep dived, and he's in movies such as Howl, Irish Wish, A Lonely Place to Die. He was in the TV series You, and also Outlander. So that's where he's from. I know him.
In You?
Yeah, season. I think season 3 or season 2.
I stopped watching it after season 2. So.
Okay, I think it was like season 3. He was in You. So that's where he's in. You have as Brom is Jeremy Irons, who I love Jeremy Irons. First of all, he is Scar in The Lion King. That's probably where my love of him comes from. He was in The Beekeeper, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Man in the Iron Mask, and then he was also Alfred in Batman, which I love him too in Batman. Yeah. As Arya, you have Sienna. Oh, I can't say her last name. Guillory. Maybe that's how you say her name.
I don't know.
She was in the Resident Evil series. So Resident Evil Afterlife, Resident Evil Retribution, and Apocalypse. She was also in The Time Machine, and she was in Meg 2, The Trench. The Megalodon movie. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. She was somebody I did not know, though. I watched it, and I was like, I have no idea.
I don't know who that person is. And now you're naming all these movies, and I'm like, okay, I think I do know who that is now. Yeah.
As Durza, you have Robert Carlyle, who is behind Tiffany. We know and love him from Once Upon a Time. He plays Rumpelstiltskin.
Yes. Yeah.
When I saw him, I was like, Rumpelstiltskin, is that you? Like,
I saw him. And I saw him, and I immediately was like, what are you doing here, Rumpel? First of all. And then I was like, and second of all, why do you look like the bad guy from Twilight? Do you know who I'm talking about? I was like, yo, what is this? I laughed out, like, I cackled when I watched it. And I said,
oh,
why does he look like that?
They tried their best to make him look like the character in the book.
They
I
really
don't even know.
did. They should have just made him as Ruffle. I feel like that would have just been better.
I would have accepted it. I would have accepted it.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I saw him, I was like, hold, I had to pause and I was like, is that Rumpelstiltskin? And I had to like look and I was like, heck yeah, it is.
Yeah. I immediately knew.
He was still creepy in this movie as he was in Once Upon a Time, but they were all bad. As King Galbatorix, it was John Malkovich, who I love John Malkovich. Okay, so he's in Con Air, Red, Of Mice and Men. He's in Burn After Reading. Like, John Malkovich is a name that everybody knows, and when he showed up in this movie, I was like, this is. Did he have a favor? Did he do it for a favor for somebody? Like, what is this?
I was like, John Malkovich, why? Why did he do this?
Why did you
no
do
motion?
This?
Like when he was sitting on his throne and he was just like, I will. He has a line he says, but it was just like nothing. I was like, what is happening?
No, and why cast Galbatorix in the first movie? He only shows up in like in memories of other people or recountings.
It could have been anybody. It could have just been anybody. Like it didn't have to be John Malkovich.
They didn't even have to cast him. They could have just talked about him. Like they could have just brought him up in conversation. I feel like John Malkovich was like, I owe someone money.
That's what I was saying.
He's
like,
working
why
on
did
this
he
movie,
do this film?
So let me just do it.
Oh my god, it like hurt my brain. When I first watched it, I was excited. I was like, Jeremy Irons, John Malkovich. I was like, this might be good. And then I watched it and I was like, no, it is not. This is not my favorite John Malkovich movie at all.
No, and they could have gone the route of Avatar. Just put Osa in the background, shadows.
It could have been like he didn't have to have a face.
Put the dragon, his dragon. That's scary.
Yeah. Like anything.
Yes. And then as Murtaugh, you had Garrett Hedlund, who when I first watched it, I was like, who is this person? And then when I deep dived, I was like, oh, I've actually seen him in a lot of things. So he was in Tron Legacy, Four Brothers, Triple Frontier, Pan, Tulsa King, Georgia Rule. Like he has a very great list of movies that he's done. So I feel like he was very successful. I wonder if this was like one of his first movies because I'm curious now.
I think it was.
Let me look because it was a choice. I mean, he's like, look, I got to get on the scene somehow. Let's do Eragon.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, John Malkovich will be in it. Let me audition for it.
He's like, let me just get in there real quick.
Okay, so he was in Troy. That was his very first film. And then he was in the Friday Night Lights, which I remember he was in Friday Night Lights. He was in Four Brothers. He did 3 great films. And then he did Eragon.
I feel like it's the same with like what happened to John Malkovich and Jeremy
he owed someone money.
Carlisle happened to him.
Somebody was like, look, you need to do this movie in order to succeed in the future businesses. So like, just do this movie.
Oh man,
and he got sucked in.
Stefan Fangmeyer was probably like, you all owe me, and if you don't do this movie, I am going to ruin you. And they were like, all right,
we'll do it.
That had to happen because if Rachel Weisz and Jimon Unsu were there too, it was like, how did all of you great people ended up here?
How'd you get a star-studded cast and ruin the movie?
Let's look here. I need to see what has Stefan. What is he known for? I have to look because
he's known for Eragon.
Oh god, hold on. Directed.
No, he was director and producer for Jurassic Park. How?
He did visual effects for like he was a lot of visual effects on his IMDb. He did visual effects for like Wanted, Signs, Born Identity, Galaxy Quest, like top movies. digital character co-supervisor on Casper. It looks like he worked on a lot of movies. This is his one and only film he directed, and that says a lot on his directing. Like,
and he said, "Never again. Don't ever ask me to do this again."
But he has worked in not as directors, but as like graphics and visuals and production visuals on a lot of well-known movies. So maybe that's how he got like John Malkovich and all these people, because he was like in those movies.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm gonna direct Eragon, and everybody probably thought that's actually a good idea. No, this is his one and done, you guys. He never directed anything after or before this.
He did it once and was like, that's enough.
He's like,
that's enough for me.
He's like, I wasn't good at this. I was not good at this.
I'm going back to what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Visual effect.
And that's what he should have done for this movie, is visual design, because who did visual design on Eragon?
Yeah, I don't know who did that, but
was it him?
He
I don't
literally,
think so.
after this movie, he was like, whoever told me to direct a movie, I hate you. Because you know, at like one drunken night, someone was like, yo, Stefan, I have this book that I just read, and I feel like you could get it down, man. And he's like, oh yeah, what is it, Eragon? I got it. And then after that, he's like, no.
Yeah, he never again. Never again. Okay,
God.
so let's get into it. So 2006 brought us the big screen adaptation of Eragon. Do you guys remember watching this for the first time? And what was your first initial thoughts when you watched it? Like when those credits were playing, what was your thoughts after you watched it?
Thank God Avril Lavigne is singing tonight.
Oh my God.
My God.
I was like, thank goodness I didn't pay money, and this is on Disney Plus, and I didn't spend money in the movie theaters. That's what I thought.
I was like, what, 10 years old when the movie came out. So somehow my brain erased it from my memory. I remember watching it at one point.
Yeah.
I didn't remember any details or anything. I just remember it existed. And then I rewatched it, and then my brain, I was like, okay, I understand why my brain erased it from the memory.
You're like, I get why it threw it away.
I'm getting a headache watching this because my brain is like, no, you need to forget this movie existed. Like, take it out of your brain.
Yeah.
I never watched it in theaters. I was 2006, so I would have been like 16 when I watched it, or if I was gonna watch it. And at 16, I was like, no, I'm not gonna watch Eragon. Like, what?
You're like, I'm watching Twilight. Get away from me.
I'm watching like vampires. So no, I never watched it until now, and I will say, and I wish I can go back, but I can't. I read the book before I watched the movie, and I wonder if I had watched the movie before I read the book, would I have enjoyed the movie for what it was? If I had no history of the book,
No.
No.
I watched the movie before reading the book.
Rereading it, and you're like, this sucks.
This sucks. I was like, this
bad.
sucks.
Yeah. Tiff, what about you?
I remember watching this. So I was at my uncle's house and we were sitting on the couch and he's like, let's watch this movie. It has a dragon in it. And I was like, okay. We watched the movie. Not a single word was spoken that entire time we're sitting on the couch. And he turns it off and he goes, well, and I was like, there was a dragon.
If that's what you want to call it, a dragon, because it did not look like
it did not look like a dragon. And I said, why does it have feathers? I remember asking, why does it look like it has feathers? I don't understand this. And my uncle was like, don't talk about it. The whole thing.
Saphira looks so weird.
It looks so weird. Yeah, she looks so weird. And rewatching it again, I remember being like, why she look like that? Why? And then also adding on to like, why do they talk like this? And why is he running like that? And like, why are the characters speaking this way? And I hate it. And oh God. Yeah.
It just wasn't. I think maybe even in 2006, it wasn't a vibe. Like, you can't even blame.
So wrong.
You could blame it. You could be like, you know what? In that time that it came out, it was good for what it was. I don't even think you can do that with this movie.
This doesn't work in this case. That doesn't work in this case at all. Because, like, I could argue that, like, if they were to make the movie now, it would probably be better because there are actors that could execute it perfectly. The directors could do it better. The graphics could have been better. Yeah. But, like, 2006 isn't even that far. If you think about it, it wasn't that long ago. CGI was still like.
Let me tell you that I just Googled it because I was curious. I was like, what else was going on? What movies were also coming out when Eragon? It was The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith.
Okay.
That's probably what I was watching. It was The Night at the Museum, which I love. The Night at the Museum. So when I went to the movie theaters, I probably was like, Eragon or Night at the Museum? I'm going to go with Night at the Museum. I love that movie.
So do I.
It is so fun. That movie's so fun.
Yeah, that's way better than this one. And that movie, to this day, is still good.
Yeah.
Like, the graphics on everything, I still love that movie today.
Yeah.
So you can't...
still feels fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't blame it on the time frame on 2006. Like, no.
I don't know what, when I was watching it, I kept constantly thinking, like, this movie had to have come out earlier than 2006. Like, my notes have to be wrong. I was like, I don't know why it felt so older to me.
Yeah.
And it just felt so wrong. It felt so wrong watching it. And even my daughter, like, I have a 10-year-old and she's like, I don't want to watch this. And I said, I don't blame you. I said, I do not blame you. She like got up and left. She goes, I'm not watching this. And I said,
I wish I could leave too, but I have to watch it.
I said, I get you.
Oh my god. Okay, so I think I know our next question is like, what's our overall impression? But I think we pretty much explained from the minute this podcast has started that none of us enjoyed this movie whatsoever.
No. I'm gonna make it clear. I don't think the actors were badly casted. I think it was a bad script and direction.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it is. The actors are great. Great actors. I don't know. Ed Spielers was like iffy for me, but everyone else great.
Yeah.
It was the script. The script and like the directing of how they should execute the lines were weird.
Yeah.
Like they felt bland.
I mean, this goes into my next question is like, we'll talk about the casting. So Ed Spielers as Eragon, Jeremy Irons as Brom, John Malkovich as King Galbatorix. Who do you think nailed their role and who didn't? Because for me, John Malkovich did not nail that role. I felt like I was watching like a teacher who agreed to be a villain in a school play. Like that's what I felt like I was watching when I was watching him. I was like, what is this? This is not... I don't enjoy watching him on the screen. I don't like this. I do love Jeremy Irons. I enjoyed him. Ed Spielers, I was like, okay. I was like, I think I kind of liked the cousin more, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the cousin.
Yes. Yeah, because everyone else was like iffy.
Yeah.
Okay, but they were iffy because they had more material. Like, if they were actually given the right material, I feel like John Malkovich as King Galbatorix, that is menacing.
Yeah. Yes.
Rachel Weisz as Saphira, when I was reading, it was her voice. Like, I could picture her voice.
Yeah.
Jimon Onsu and Robert Carlyle.
Love him. Love Jimon. Are you kidding? Like, amazing actors. Like, this is great.
Like, they nailed where each one went. Robert Carlyle as Dursa when he did Dracula for Castlevania.
Yes.
And Rumpelstiltskin. Like,
yes,
he has the background to make this over the top villains that are a little bit flamboyant too, like arrogant. Like, you nailed the cast. Just give them something to work with.
Yeah, that's what the issue was. Like, this cast was perfect on paper, and then the execution was like, I don't know where they missed. Like, I don't blame the actors at all. And I don't know, maybe I don't blame the director either, but I think there was like a miscommunication with how they should have executed their lines and how they should have executed being the characters. And like, they're just, I don't know, they were all missing something.
Tiff, when you said that Durza, who's Rumpelstiltskin, I'm looking at a picture of him now, and when you were like how he reminds you of the vampire from
Twilight, the bad guy, the Valtori.
Yes,
you're gonna sit here and tell me he look like Walmart version of the Valtori, like.
No. Wait, I have to see when did it come out? The Walmart version? I'm dead right now. Hold on.
I'm just saying, like, that's what it looked like to me, especially like when you first see him, like in the movie. He's on that cliff and he's like telling the people to like telling the little things to go.
Yes.
I was like, I was like, yo, boy, what
No.
are you doing wearing that wig? Stop.
I 1,000% agree that the actors are great. Like, these are great actors, and there's so much potential, and just the writing failed them. It was the writing, the costume design choices, like all of it. It failed them. The script was a failure and not the actor. And the actors, they just had to do the best they could with what they were given, because what is that? But I loved the cousin.
What? Yeah.
The cousin was
When he was running around in the beginning, I was like, who's this kid? I like him. Like, I like you. And then he left, and I was like, oh, okay, we're just back with Eragon.
And then he was gone.
So sad when he left. I was like,
so fast. I was like, bye. He was like, that's it for me. No, he was like, I enjoyed the cousin.
Yeah. Were there this is so stupid. Were there any particular scenes or moments in the movie that stood out to you, either for good or for bad? Because generally, I feel like it's gonna be bad.
Literally,
I want to
you and I have the same
about
answer.
I want
we
to
have
talk
the same
about
answer.
when Saphira goes from hatchling to full-grown dragon in 2 seconds while flying through the clouds, and I was like, I watched it on screen and I said, what did I just watch? Because, and like the time lapse is crazy, because Eragon looks at his hand and he's like, burns. And then she just comes down and he's like, oh, dragon. And I'm like,
I honestly was like, did I miss something? Like, I talked to Tiff about it. I was like, did she just, as soon as he let her go, did she just become grown? And Tiff's like, no, there was like a time lapse. I was like, what am I missing? Like, what
it's
are
like
you
supposed to be one?
I
And
was
then
like,
there just wasn't. There's just lightning. I forgot about that because she asked me before I watched the movie again. And I was like, no, there's like a time lapse. There's like a whole time period of her growing. And then I watched the movie today and I was like,
but even like
ew.
Eragon looks the same. Like, he didn't look like he had no face. Like,
in the
facial hair
movie,
wasn't
there
cool.
is
Like,
no time lapse, Kim. In the movie, there's no time lapse. It's just in the clouds.
It was instantaneous, which was a weird choice.
I lost my mind. I thought I was going crazy. I was like, what did I miss?
They tried to make it a thing where it was like lightning caused her to grow or something, because you could see like the sparks fly, and I was like, and then she just lands, and I'm like, I don't get this.
I don't know. No, it was supposed to be around 3 months, right?
Yeah.
She went away.
Yeah.
To grow. I can't. I cannot. That's it. I just can't handle this movie.
The one scene I hated the most was when he was with Angela. Like, Angela is such a good character in the book. She's funny. She has the cat. They're vibing. She tells him the future, and it's tries to make the best out of it. And she comes back again, and it's still lighthearted, but she's still like the wise old woman.
Yes.
And then we see her in being the creepy lady in the hut.
Yeah.
It's
like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
There was no scenes that I enjoyed. I did not enjoy any scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, even when Brom was describing Saphira, I thought he was going to call her out. Like, this dragon does not look like anything in the book. But he was like, oh, nice talons, nice this. I was like, what are you looking at? Because this dragon is not the dragon that's described in the book.
Yeah.
I put it in, that goes into our next question, which is like the special effects and the CGI for Saphira. Were they decent for the time of 2006? I just like, what is this? But did they do the justice for her look? No. For me, I couldn't think of it. She looks like she's like almost going to become a hippogriff from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, you still need to grow more feathers and you need to become a hippogriff and then go to Hogwarts, and that's where you actually belong. Because I don't know what you are.
I felt something different. I felt like she was gonna become human at one point. And I'm like,
yes,
what is wrong
it was so weird. Like, it was such a weird look.
Her face didn't look reptilian. She didn't look like a dragon.
She looks like the Loch Ness monster meets like my pet lizard. You know what I mean? Like a weird, like mixed with like a hippogriff. Yeah, from Harry Potter. Like this weird.
It's the feathers.
So weird.
Also, I feel like they failed the scales. Like she's supposed to look like this shiny sapphire gem, and she looks so dull.
Let's be real. The egg was the star of this whole thing. That egg was like, I was like, okay, this looks like a stone egg. I thought there would be more scales on the egg or something, but I was
just
like,
a rock.
Oh, yeah, it looks like a stone. I was like, okay. But then also in the book, doesn't she breathe blue fire to match herself? Am I going crazy? Doesn't she breathe blue fire in the book?
Yeah, I think so.
And in the movie, I think it's just normal fire.
Scene.
It's just normal fire.
It's just normal fire.
Like they said, we don't have enough in the budget. We already did it all on Sapphira.
To be blue.
We can't.
They're like, just move your color to the blue. Like, no, it has to look like fire. I can't change it.
I can't.
Oh, I was so pissed when it was not blue fired.
Yeah.
It's so ew, I'm looking at the pictures right now.
See? Don't look at it. Don't look at it.
So ugly.
It is so bad. It is.
I just want to say that, like, even the character herself was lacking personality. When I read her in the book, she was like, she had that like sass and that wit, and like, you know what I mean? Like, she had so much personality, and I said, "Ooh, girl, like, tell him," you know. And in this one, she's like, "You're stupid," and then that was it. And I was like,
"Huh?"
No. Yeah, like she's almost like annoyed that she's connected with him.
Yeah,
that's how I felt.
I was like, oh.
That was so weird that the movie made her like that. It's just, I didn't know.
Yeah,
no,
I didn't understand it. Poncho, are you a fan of Fourth Wing?
I haven't read them, so
okay. So Tiff and I were we were talking about. Tiff, break it down.
There's something here. There's something that I thought of, and I might just be crazy.
Bothering her.
It was bothering me. So there's a line that Brom says where he's like, the dragon doesn't hatch until its rider is ready. And then it was like, and then the dragon doesn't the dragon doesn't die if the rider dies, but if the ride or what is it, Kim? What was it? Like, I can't remember what he
said. Is like a rider. It's almost like a rider without its dragon. It was like,
yeah, like one or the other dies, right?
Yeah.
And he says this line in the movie, and I think it's in the book too, where he talks about the dragon's bond, and if one dies, the other does. But if the other doesn't die, the other doesn't.
If the rider dies, the dragon dies, but if the dragon dies, the rider lives.
Yes, yeah, okay. And so in Fourth Wing, the premise is if the dragon dies, the rider dies, and if the rider dies, the dragon lives. But the way it's executed in the movie is word for word the way it's executed in the book and for Fourth Wing. And I was like,
Tiff was literally like, did the author of Fourth Wing watch Eragon and take that line?
I was like, is Rebecca Yarros a fan?
Yeah, because I was like, I asked Tiff, I was like, is that a thing in the dragon lore? Like, if a dragon and rider are bonding? And Tiff was like, no, dragons are dragons and riders are riders, if there even is riders.
Yeah.
And Tiff was like, the whole main thing for Fourth Wing is like a rider without, or a dragon without its rider, right? It's like the bond, it's like connected. It's like the biggest, like, there's like merchandise based off that quote. And then when we were watching it and when Brom said almost exactly like it, we were like, why does that sound like Fourth Wing?
I know. But don't come for me, Fourth Wing fans. I was just making a connection. I'm not saying she stole any. I'm not saying that at all. Okay. And I love Rebecca Yarros. I love Fourth Wing. Give me Riddick all day, every day. Listen, Poncho, if you read Fourth Wing, Riddick is my favorite character. Just make it known. And I feel like he'd be your favorite character too, because he's that funny best friend. But listen, I'm not saying she stole it. Okay, I'm just saying
it's just odd.
It's matches.
It matches very much. And we're not saying watch the movie to find out. Like, you don't need to watch this.
No,
movie.
Don't watch the movie. Don't watch the movie.
No.
Don't watch it.
We'll post like a picture of the quote. That will be it. But like,
that'll be it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's get into a book versus movie comparison. Actually, like compare. Uh Go ahead, Tim, with your question.
Okay, all right. So what is one big thing that you feel the movie missed that the book absolutely nailed? And I'm going to start off strong by saying it was the bond between Aragon and Saphira, because in the movie, they showed no relationship arc. Like, I feel like they just like they were distant cousins that like just happened to be on the same trip together, and that's it. You know what I mean? In the book, like they had so much, like they had conversation, they had like their telepathy. um there was so much like their relationship arc built, and it was like laid out perfectly, and I was like, I love this. And then the movie, she was just like, this fucking kid, like I don't know. And yeah, I feel like that was one of like the biggest things that they missed.
Yeah,
Like, come on.
definitely the bond with the character. I mean, the story for the characters alone is just missed. Like in the book, there's such a great you feel a connection with each of these characters, right? But the movie, it's just so like blah. Like you're just what am I watching? You're like, what am I watching for an hour and 43 minutes? That is how much I hated this movie. I was like, how much time is left in this movie?
Yeah.
And then I put it down in my notes here. The ending was different as well, the book and the movie. So in the film, Aragon and his dragon Saphira, they have a final duel with Durza where they manage to kill the villain despite like all the injuries with Saphira. In the book though, Aragon is like tricked by Durza, who's like, you almost think he's gonna win, before Saphira and Arya come to save Eragon. And I was like, why did you guys change it? You're just trying to do this whole destiny that's like Eragon is like the main character. Like he's the one that has to like save in the movie. And it's like, no, dude, like your girls Saphira and Arya came and saved you because you got tricked by Durza. Let's be real. Like,
Yeah.
Rumpelstiltskin can trick you. Like,
Yeah.
As he
Rumpelstiltskin-
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, as he does.
So the ending for me, I was kind of because I liked the ending in the book. Because I love Arya and I loved the ending, and then I was like, ew, this movie.
Ew.
Don't I was just like, ew. I don't like
It was
Plot throughout
no.
the movie.
And yeah, the magical thing with healing Saphira didn't work for me because nobody cares that much because we didn't see the bond. We don't care. Give me Saphira and Arya coming to save our boy Eragon.
Yes. There was no emotion. Like I've watched movies where an animal creature, especially an animal creature, a magical one ever, is like injured or they're on the verge of dying, and you can like feel connected and emotional behind it, right? You're just like, oh my god, like I'm crying over a dog, or like I'm crying over like these like characters. With her, I was like, and
exactly.
You're like, wow, that sucks.
What?
Like animals dying in movies and in books never fails to make me cry, and then I saw Saphira, and I'm like, okay, this is over, right? This is so over.
This blue chicken is dying. And
chicken.
That's it. Yeah, like that's literally it.
Oh my god,
amount
that's
of time
perfect.
that ew watching this was ridiculous. I like because every 5 seconds I'd be like, ew, why did they? And then like that whole scene in the end, all the way till the credits, I was like, ew, just ew. Like I got the ick. It was not fun.
Same. Was there anything in the movie that was changed or cut that actually improved the story or made it easier to follow? I had to ask the question.
No,
the
like
only
no.
Go ahead.
Like they changed every character's arc of what they wanted to do. Like Brom never wanted to go to Abardan in the first place. He wanted to train Eragon and then take him. Murtagh, we see him more times with Eragon through the book, and he grows as almost a brother to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Arya is in the book. We see her as this very good duelist, magician, elf. She can communicate with Eragon through their minds to like you can see how she grows from being distrustful of him to no, I can trust you. You can save.
Yes.
Eragon doesn't go in his revenge quest, and I'm like, wait, that's what makes him at least a little bit better, like as a
Yeah.
character. Like
Yeah.
you have an edge. They eliminated Auric for some goddamn reason. They eliminated the dwarf.
They were
Like, and
budget cuts. What are you
The
gonna say?
budget where it's all on
yeah,
the dragon.
like, and
Don't know
I don't,
where.
I don't get why they eliminated the only dwarf that actually shows how dwarves are not. Like,
Yeah.
he is the
Yes.
only dwarf that actually welcomes Eragon and tries to show him what's going on with the dwarf society. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's necessary.
Yeah.
We're very hopeful on the TV show. I mean,
I hope.
Well,
I hope.
yeah, we'll talk about it. But I know Tiff, we talked about it. Cutting the travel times, definitely.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I think they did right with this was cutting the travel times. Because if I had to sit through this movie with how it was, adding on the travel of them just walking, like crossing the terrain, learning how to survive. If I had to watch that on top of what I had already watched, I would be livid.
Yeah.
More than I am now, because it's like on a page, like reading it as a book, it's different because you can imagine it. Yeah, and like it helps you understand like where they're at, what they're doing, the whole thing.
Yeah,
right?
it's not time hopping
Watching
without
it on
like
screen
yeah.
is so different and hard. But like I said this earlier, and someone was like my friend was like, yeah, but you watch Lord of the Rings and all they do is travel. And I said, it's different.
It is different.
It
is
different.
really different.
Because they did it right. Like the way that there was so much going on with their whole purpose was to travel. So yeah.
Yeah. And
Eragon was a completely different story.
There was also back and forth between the characters as you got to know them in
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. But in Eragon, you didn't get that.
They were like distant. It was weird.
Yeah.
So, something that irks me also at the movies is in the book we see like 4 major cities, we see so many environments, we get to go underground, a desert, the coast, and in the movie we get like all forest, and I'm like, I thought this was a continent bigger.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You get
forest and dead grass.
Forest, dead grass, and then a lot of black screen, because there were so many times I was like, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
I was like, I need everybody turn off the lights. I can't see what I'm looking at. What?
Just looking at my reflection in the TV, and I was like, I did not remember signing up for this movie. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there was not. They were like, look, we have to pick one area and we can only film in one location. So this is what we're going to show. Like, that's how I felt the choice.
Yeah, but there was like they could have made it better. Like if you choose
it
like
was
England
total backdrop. Like that's what I felt.
It's green screen. That's just a straight up green screen.
You can choose like Australia and you get the desert, the coast, the forest, and maybe some snow. You can choose England and get the plains, the swamp, and the forest.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Like there are options. Don't just give me the same forest all the time.
Yeah, I don't want to see that anymore. I'm over it.
Okay. It said that I had to look. I was like, where was this filmed? It was filmed in the main filming location was just outside of Budapest. The dramatic landscape of the high Tatras Mountains were in Slovakia. And then the reshoots and outdoor scenes, including those with the dragon Sapphire, as if like this dragon was actually there, was in Canada. That's where Canada is like where they were.
They chose the same environment 3 times in a row.
I hate
go
everything
and
about
travel somewhere. Go somewhere, like do a different kind of environment. Like if you're gonna go out to like Budapest or like pick something different. Like don't just all pick the same. Like what is happening?
That's where all the money went.
Like it could have just been if you told me they filmed this like in one area, one little city or country, I've been like that checks out. The fact they went to 3 different places and filmed and it looks like that, no thank you. You did not do the research. I feel whoever was the research for, what did they call it? Location scouting did not do a good job.
Like
they probably waited last minute.
Yeah, like they could have chosen, for example, okay, if we want to film in Europe, let's go to Spain.
Yes.
They have more desert areas. They have the coast, and we'll have this beautiful shots, and then we'll have some northern mountains and plains. Cool.
Yes.
Now let's go to Canada for the tundra and the forest. And
Mm-hmm.
let's change it up. We want the swamp. Let's go to, I don't know, the south, Florida, I guess.
Yeah. Or like Orleans or something. Like you could have done something. I feel like they took 3 darts and they like threw them on a map and they were like, this is where we're going to go, you guys. This is what we're doing. Like,
they said, this is fun.
Oh my God.
I hate it.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about the world, okay, let's talk about the world building. So the book spends a lot of time on world building and especially the magic lore.
Mm-hmm.
I already know the answer to this, but did the movie give enough of that or did it feel like it was lacking? Because it felt like it was lacking. Because like they could have done so much more. There was like no lore in the world in the movie at all. Like the magic itself was bland. The language, like there was a whole language that they spoke, the ancient language. Yeah. And like the dwarves and the elves, you could have like, there's just so much that they could have done with it. Like just by simple conversation, like just by simple, like Eragon could have been like, what's this? And then, you know, someone could have been like, well, this is this, and this is the lore behind it. You know what I mean? Like it could have been so much more with just a simple bit of conversation.
The script was very modern for in 2006. Does that make sense? Like they didn't take the. It's like he didn't read the book.
It's like he didn't read the book.
It's like he saw the cover. Yes. It's like he saw the cover, read the blurb, and was like, I can turn this into a movie. Yeah. Like, dude, did you read the book? Like, it's like he did not read the book at all. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, where is the werecat? Because I like him.
Yeah.
What's the lore with the witches and wizards? Because it's different than the dragon riders. Why are the Urgles looking like the more, like, weird people?
Mm-hmm.
They were supposed to be monstrous. Like, scare me.
Yeah.
Why didn't we see the underground city of the dwarves? Like, that was like the last third of the book is there. We need to explore that city because we're gonna be gone next book. We're gone.
And I mean, like, don't even say that, like, oh, if this was gonna continue as a series, we would have done it. Lies. No way. No way. Because if this,
they would have set it up.
An hour and 43 minutes is not enough time to get everything you want in this book. If I were to play, like, go on Disney Plus, put this movie on, and it said this movie is 2 hours, I would have been like, oh, there's a lot of information. When I saw an hour and 43, I was like, this is a short movie. I felt like it was short. I was like, this is short, an hour and 43 minutes. And no wonder, because there's like a lot cut. A lot of it was cut. It felt very modern. Even in the town he goes to, it just felt so like modern or in 2006. Like if somebody whipped out a phone, I would have been like, yeah, there's a phone there.
Somebody has a sidekick right there.
Starbucks coffee shows up. I'd be like, that makes sense. They're just living in their own world, but it's 2006. There's dragons. That's
okay. I like it felt so weird watching that town at the beginning because when Eragon introduces us to the town, it's bare bones. Like it's just very self-sufficient.
Yes.
And in the movie, it feels like very self-sufficient. And why is the Butcher nice in the movie? Like, no, make him the asshole he was. I want him to say fall, and then we can turn normal.
Yeah, I agree. It was very. I mean, I think we can all agree that this movie lacked a lot. The director, I feel like, did not read the book. The script was not right. It was horrid. And the CGI sucked. I mean, like it just was bad. This was a bad film, and now I understand because I always heard fans of the book who watched the movie. Ever since the movie came out, I've always heard people were like, no, this is the worst adaptation. This is not good. Like, why would they do this? And I never understood. I understand.
You understand now.
We are with you, the fans. We completely understand.
You should have seen the faces of the friends I told that I was going to watch the movie. She was like, one of them was like, oh no, why did you do that to yourself? Why are you doing that to yourself? And another one of my friends. Yeah.
Listen, we do that to ourselves constantly.
Why did we pick this movie, this book to adaptation?
Yeah.
Because you know what? Sometimes not every book to movie adaptation we're gonna love. That's the whole point of the podcast.
Yeah.
There's gonna be shitty ones, and we have to talk about them.
But this one in particular is a unanimous understanding across the globe that this is a bad, very bad. And if someone told me,
I want to know who loves
if
this
someone
movie.
told me I love Eragon, I will die on that hill. I'd be like, you die on that hill, and I will go away. I will walk away because no.
I have to search the subreddit to see if anybody likes the movie, because I feel like if you post something in there, everybody will come with torches.
Pitchforks, torches.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
real
curious.
pictures
When
of
we
what Tough Hero looks like. Like, this is not.
When we post all our stuff leading up to this episode coming out, I'm really curious to see in the comments who loved the book, who hated the movie, and who's the one person who's gonna be like, I actually I enjoy the movie. What?
I want a one-on-one conversation with them as to why. That's what
I want to be included.
We're gonna have a conversation.
A recap of the podcast with this person. Like, please change our minds.
Yeah.
If you love this movie, like, change our minds. Why?
Show me why.
Did it for you.
Show me why, and why was it Rumpelstiltskin dressed as
Not even.
That carried the movie for me. That's my only takeaway from this movie. When I watched it, I was like, okay, that was cool, but Rumpelstiltskin really did look like that guy, and I can't stop thinking about it.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna put a side-to-side picture on our Instagram because
yes, please.
Once you said it, I can't stop thinking about it. He did look like the guy from Twilight.
Yeah.
Terry.
I can't even.
I know which one you're talking about, and I'm like, okay, yes. Yes.
It does that funny laugh.
The one that does that weird laugh, the main guy. I'm not even gonna try to do the laugh. It's too much. Okay.
Oh my god.
So, do we think that the new Disney Plus series can redeem the franchise? Because I think yes, but if I see Steven's name anywhere on there, if I see his name anywhere on there, I'm not gonna have any hope.
Except
I did the research. Eragon television series based on Christopher Paolini's books in development on Disney Plus. The author himself is actively involved as a co-writer and executive producer, ensuring faithfulness to the source material.
Okay.
But here's where I will say I am hesitant to say that's a good thing. I feel like authors are better as consultants than the writers.
Than actually
collectively. I actually agree with that, yeah.
Like, the best example, Percy Jackson. I'm just gonna not say more.
I'll
wait until that.
Yeah.
We'll wait for our episode.
We'll wait for our episode when all three of us reconvene again for Percy Jackson to talk about it. Because, the author... Because I feel like this movie, the author didn't have anything to do with this movie. I feel like he just sold the... he just let them do it and was like, yeah, I trust you guys. And he was probably like young and stupid. And now he's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to direct it and write it. And we'll be like, okay, you're a bit too much now.
Just put your stake in it.
And you're going to be in Steven's shoes. He was, he should not have been directing it.
Yeah, you can even go as far as, for example, the Magical Beast series from Harry Potter. The second and third movie. Like, the first movie, I think it's really good. The other two are effie. And I'm pretty sure JK was involved in the writing, the whole writing. And I'm like, writing scripts is really different to a book.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. I read in an interview, I have to find it real quick. So somebody had asked him, how did you feel about the movie adaptation for Eragon? And his response was, well, I'm glad it was made since so few books ever get made into movies. And it's, I guess at the time, right? 2006.
Yeah.
It introduced millions of new readers to the inheritance cycle. He said, that said, the movie reflects the studio and the director's view of the story, whereas the book reflects mine, and everyone is free to enjoy them on their own merits. And he said, true story, I was supposed to have a cameo in the final battle. He was like, I was going to get dressed up as an Urgle, and Eragon was going to chop my head off. He's like, but I was touring, so I chose not to be in the film. Good choice. Don't go get away from that.
Good choice.
He said, listen, we all have our creative outlets, and however you interpret it is however you interpret it.
Yeah, he's like, look, the movie reflects only the studio and the director. It does not reflect me. He's like, I am the book.
Yes. And that is the best statement he could have made.
Yeah. We all can read between the lines there. Okay, yeah, we know what you're saying.
We're picking up what he put down, and that's fine. Oh my God.
Do you guys think Eragon still resonates with readers, or could it possibly be for like the newer generation of kids growing up now? Like, do you feel like this is a great fantasy intro to YA readers? I think so. The book. Yeah. I think you mentioned it earlier, Poncho. This is a great introduction to fantasy for those who have not read fantasy. And I completely agree. I think for kids nowadays, if they were like, I want to read a fantasy book, drag it, like this would be the one. I'd be like, here it is. Don't watch the movie, but here's the book.
Yeah.
No. Just don't never mention the movie.
Yeah.
And if they ask about it, you say, stay away from it.
Yeah. You're not allowed to watch this movie.
Actually, it's a completely different story.
It shouldn't be on Disney Plus, actually.
No.
Stray away.
People should get paid for watching the movie. Because
we should have gotten paid for it. We wasted
we should have.
Gotten paid watching that movie.
So true.
So yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think this is a great book to this day that kids can read?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so.
I think I also think that if they like fully go on with the TV series, kids nowadays, they'll see it on Disney Plus and then it'll be like, oh, like what's this TV series is a book, kind of like the Percy Jackson TV series. It kind of introduced a whole new, it was an introduction to a lot of kids who never knew Percy Jackson. They read the book, they watched the series. So maybe this would be like that for a new generation. As adults, I think that it's a good read if you want to kind of like an easy YA fantasy book, not like the fantasy dragon books that we read nowadays with a lot of smut scenes, but
she said not YA.
Yeah, not YA. The 18 plus.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is good for like you said, it is a good intro to kids for fantasy reading the book. The book is great for kids, and I think it'll be great I think this TV series will probably be good for kids that don't know the difference between a good movie and a bad one. So I feel like however it's done, the kids will enjoy it. I think dragons are in right now. I don't know. Everyone's talking about dragons, like they're throwing dragons in their books and movies and stuff. And so I feel like this is the perfect time for them to do it. So I'm excited to see like how it all plays out. But
yeah, just please make it more than 8 episodes so you can actually build a story. We don't need to rush it.
Yeah, don't rush it. And don't make it like 25 minutes.
And please make Sapphire. I can't even say her name. Please make the dragon look good, please.
Yeah. Like use your CGI work and make it look. Read the book. Like make it look
not
good.
A chicken. Make her look like a dragon. Please. We've all seen Game of Thrones. We know what they should look like now, okay? We know what the possibilities are.
Like
don't
make
give
it
me a
look
chicken.
Yeah, I know.
Don't give me a blue chicken, please.
No, give me a good dragon. Definitely.
Okay. So what are the final thoughts?
Let's rate it.
This is such a dumb question. What are the final thoughts? Which do you prefer, book or movie, and why is it the book?
Yeah, I preferred the book over the movie. The movie, it's not even close. So
the
definitely
book
the book.
Yeah,
it's a book. It's the book by far.
Yeah. So let's rate the book. How many stars out of 5 would you guys give the book? Poncho, we'll let you go first.
Yeah.
I'll give it a solid 4. Like,
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Tiff?
I think 3.5 because it's a good starter. If you're like someone that's like heavy into fantasy all the time, I feel like this would be kind of like if anything, it would be like a refresher for you, like not refresher, but like one of those filler books that you would have in between like a series or something. Yeah. So I would give it like a 3.5, maybe a 4.
I give it a 3.5. I'm really curious how the other books are. I wonder if my rating would go up for each book. Do you know what I mean? Because like when you get that first book and it's like the introduction to the fantasy world that we're in, and then each book it kind of is like now you're in the arc of the story, right? It gets better and it should get better and better as you go. So I'm curious if we continue to read the series, will my ratings go up, for each book? But right now I give it a 3.5. I don't think I'll pick it up again, but
unless the series gets for the second season.
Yeah, correct. Then I'll pick it up again. And I would love to see how we rate the movie out of 5 stars, you guys.
Can I give you negatives?
Negative.
Yeah. I'm actually going to, it's like, I'm not even going to rate it at all. And I'm just going to skip and do like, no, thank you. You don't even deserve a rating on my book.
I'm just going to act like I didn't even watch it.
Take it off my
take it off my list. Take it out of my brain and throw it away. Like, what? Eragon? I've never seen it.
I'm just going to hope my brain does what it did before. And
what it did last time and just completely forget about it.
He's like, I'm going to listen to the podcast one time, and that's it. And I'm going to remove Eragon from my memory because...
Remove it forever.
What is happening?
My friends want to do it. Like, when you guys put it out, they want to do a watch party with me.
Oh my god. Well, hi.
It's the friends. We're here talking about this ruined our lives. Here we are.
I wasted an hour and 45 minutes of my life watching this movie.
Yeah, I give it like 0.
Again, for the second time, which I realized.
All of you guys have watched it. This is like my first time, and I was like, thank God, it was my one and only. Nothing else. Yeah, I give it 0 stars. I can't even rate this movie.
Nothing.
If I could go negative, I would. I don't even think you can give it a half a star when you try to rate it on the TV. Because sometimes if I hate it so bad, I will want to give it like half a star or a 0. And it wants me to try to give it 1 star. I was like, no, you don't deserve 1 star.
Yeah. You don't get that extra 0.5. If I'm giving you a 0.5, I'm being generous.
That's me being nice.
Yeah, it's A for effort at that point.
The 0.5 is when I'm laughing too hard about this.
Yeah. How chaotic this is.
Yes, but that's not the case here.
No. The 0.5 was for the cousin. Okay, let's be real.
Yep.
Yes.
So it was 4.
Yep. That's all it is.
Okay, actually, the 0.5 is for the right casting, and everything else went to...
There we go. Yeah. It went downhill. Like if it was like nowadays and they were like dropping the casting, like this is who's casted for the movie. If I had seen it, I'd been like, wow, this is a great cast. This is like a stacked cast. This is awesome. That's where it piqued my interest. And then you watch the film and it's like, whatever, thumbs down. Like, so the 0.5 is for the casting because, a job is a job and they had to do a job.
Yes.
That's their hustle. Okay. That's their hustle and they did it. Okay. And I applaud them for doing it. Yeah. I applaud that. I
really would love to see some behind the scenes on this group. Like a documentary.
Can you imagine?
What went wrong? Like, let's see. Like what? Like what they said. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm so curious.
Oh man, that would be. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that room.
Yes.
That when room initially after they got the reviews back for this movie and they like all had that meeting, I would love to be a fly in the room in that meeting. Oh my god, can you imagine? Who didn't read the book?
Yeah.
Who didn't read the book? And at least one person was supposed to read the book. Who didn't read it? Like
I would love to see like their reaction when they got it.
Oh man.
I would have loved to see the actors as they were acting, what they thought, and then the backstage talk from them to see what was going through their minds.
And I would also like to see, because when you have a creature, it's CGI'd later, right? So in the meantime, it's whatever it is, a tennis ball or whatever. So, they're probably acting the best they could with what they saw. And they're like, oh, they're going to add the dragon. It's going to look amazing. She's going to do her voice of the dragon. It's going to be amazing. No, that was... They probably watched it back and they're like, why are everybody talking to a chicken? I thought it was
what is that? What is that?
I thought I was talking to a dragon. Why is it a blue chicken? Like,
I would love them to do a documentary about the Office style of them filming this scene, and then they're like in the back, like dude,
staring at the camera, like, what is happening?
Yeah, like Jeremy Irons is like, bro.
He's like, I'm Jeremy Irons, and then John Malkovich is like, I'm John Malkovich. Why are we doing this? Like, we are great actors.
Like, they just deadpan into the camera when someone says something like about the book, and they're like, like, that's what I wanted.
Yeah. He's like, I'm doing Once Upon a Time. Why am I dressed like this? Like, this is horrendous.
He's like, this is ridiculous. And he's like, my skills are better than this dragon's skills. Okay, let's talk about it.
Yes.
1,000%. Oh my God. This has been an amazing episode. Okay, so before we wrap up, we are going to jump into our Arc Corner segment. So this is our Arc Corner segment where we highlight an author and their upcoming or their newest book. And we want to shed a light and an accomplishment on you, Poncho, and your book. We want to give you a moment to tell our listeners about your book. What's it about? Where can they read it? Like, what's going on? Like, this is your time to shine, dude.
Yes.
Right.
Let's do it. So please, share your information. Share with us your book. Let's get into it.
All right. So Chronicles of Heroes is, you'll see it's really different to Eragon because the setting is here. Urban fantasy, we're going to be set in Mexico. We're going to follow a teenager, and he's going to start discovering that life is not normal. Superpowers exist, and now he is being hunted because people want to abuse him now that he knows the truth.
Oh, I love it.
Now, and he has to balance his normal life with his family, friends, school, and his anti-heroic life in his quest of being free to not be used as a weapon or just outright killed.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have a lot of animals because, as you can guess it, his superpower is animal speech and transformation.
Yes.
Ooh.
And there will be like a team. It's that kind of book. So if you like more modern settings with not superheroes, because as he says it, I am not a hero. I might be the villain of everybody else's story. I'm just doing what I can to survive.
I love that.
You'll probably like that. And right now, I'm working on a romance because I said I'm gonna jump from fantasy. All right.
Okay, so your book sounds amazing. By the way, I love modern fantasy, and I love everything that you just described because it sounds like a really great book to read. Where can they find you on social media and such, and then where can they get the book?
Okay, in social media, I'm pretty much in Instagram and Threads and Facebook as Poncho Bosque Writes in Instagram and Threads, or Poncho Bosque in Facebook. For the book, Amazon, Kobo, you name it, I figure out a way to put it out there. I think I'm only not in indie bookstores because it's a little bit harder, but I'm even in Barnes and Nobles too.
Oh, perfect. Okay, awesome. So I'll make sure to put all of your information in the description below so that way our listeners can find your book, follow you, and connect with you on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, all the good stuff. But it sounds like a really good book, and like I love fantasy. I love modern fantasy, and I'm also intrigued about your romance book that you're working on too because I also write, and I wrote a fantasy, and then I just did a whole 180 and started writing romance. So I I would love to talk to you at some point about like your romance book, because yeah, I don't know. I have like thoughts because I was like, I went from
I would be down.
yeah,
Tell
because I
me and
went
I
from
can
writing
go.
like fantasy and had a whole bunch of like crazy stuff happen to like a contemporary romance, and I'm like, yo, this is so different than writing fantasy. I don't know what, like, I don't know what I was thinking.
It is such a jump. It is like
Yeah,
going from what I did with fantasy, because I'm gonna return to that series,
yeah.
to romance between a werewolf and an alchemist in New York.
Oh, I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued, and I want to know more. So I'm gonna hit you up on Instagram eventually about that because I love werewolves. So
Same. I love werewolves.
love them.
Give me a book with werewolves and I'm gonna read it.
Yes. Oh God. Okay. Listen, I could talk about it forever, but okay, so that is a wrap on our Eragon episode. Thank you so much, Poncho, for joining us. This was fun. I love talking crap about the movie. And yeah, I just needed to talk to someone about it. I'm very glad I was able to do it with you and Kim, even though Kim's not here. I'm sure she could say the same. But I'm also happy that you were here to talk about your own book and being able to connect with our listeners, and they can find you anywhere on, Instagram threads, and they can read your books. And I'm excited for that. So, um, thank you so much. And for our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to subscribe, rate, leave a review wherever you listen to the podcast. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Official Page to Picture for all things books, movies, movie adaptations, and more. And then you can also find our link tree on our Instagram where you can get new episodes, guest signups, our merch, schedules, all that good stuff. And so, Poncho, thank you once again for joining us. I appreciated it. I know Kim did too.
Much. It was so fun. And if you're doing the Percy Jackson, you have to call me. I need to be here.
100%. I'm gonna make sure that we put you on for Percy Jackson because I know we're gonna do it, and we have to have you on for that because there's no way. We had too much fun with this. There's no way we can't have you on for Percy Jackson. Like,
I have so much to say about that one. So much.
I know Kim does too, and I definitely do. So it'll be fun. So I'll make sure that we reach out to you for that. But thank you again. And thank you, listeners, for everything. And I hope you guys have a good day. Okay, bye.